Today in our 2015 BMW X5, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the CURT Class 3 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number 13077. So here's what our hitch is going to look like once we have it installed on our X5. The cross tube is going to be completely hidden behind the bumper, and all we're going to see is the receiver's tube sticking out of the very bottom of the bumper here. It's going to give us a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening, so we're going to have a lot of different options for whatever kind of accessory we want to mount. The way we're going to mount our accessories, the hitch pin hole here on the side, and it is going to accept a standard 5/8 pin and clip. These aren't included in the kit, but you can pick them up here along with some locking devices to keep your accessories safe at etrailer.com. The safety chain connection points are going to be a loop style welded to the bottom of the receiver tube. And as you can see, we'll have plenty of room to get most size hooks on or off. As far as weight capacity goes, our hitch is going to have a 600-pound tongue weight, which is the maximum downward force of the receiver tube, along with the 6,000-pound gross trailer weight rating. That's the amount it can pull, including the trailer and everything we have loaded on it. Now with those numbers, you always want to double check your BMW's owner's manual and never exceed the manufacturer's recommended towing weight. I'd like to give you a few measurements, and that's going to help you whenever you're looking at accessories for your new hitch, like a ball mount, bike rack, or even a cargo carrier. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, it's right about 4 inches. That measurement is going to come in handy when you're looking at folding accessories, so make sure you have enough clearance and that it's not going to come in contact with the rear bumper. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, it's right about 15 inches. That measurement is going to come in handy when you're looking for a ball mount to make sure you find the appropriate rise or drop to match up to your trailer. But now that we've seen what our hitch looks like and gone over some of the features, let's show you how to get it installed. To begin our installation, we're going to open up the hatch on our X5, and on the driver's side we're going to have this access panel. We'll go ahead and open it up, move the cover aside, and then in the back corner here we're going to have our taillight assembly. There's going to be a small tab. You want to reach in and press in on that tab so we can disconnect the wiring. We'll move the plug out of the way, and we'll pull back the carpet, and we'll find 2 nuts that are holding the taillight assembly in place. So we can grab an 8mm socket and pull those 2 nuts out. With those 2 nuts removed, we'll grab our taillight and we'll remove it and we'll set it aside where it won't get damaged. And we'll go ahead and do that on the other side as well. Underneath our taillight, at the very corner of the fascia here, we'll have another bolt that we'll have to pull out. We use an 8mm socket and we'll pull out the bolt on each side. On the bottom of the fascia, on either side of the center, we're going to have 2 bolts that are holding the bottom fascia to some supports. So we'll grab our 8mm socket and pull those 4 bolts out. If we move to our wheel well, right where the arch is, we'll have 2 plastic rivets that are going to be holding it in place. Now since they're rivets, we're going to have to drill those out, but they do have replacements in our kit. So we'll take a small drill bit, we're going to go right in the center. You want to drill it until that rivet comes out and it's freed from the fascia. So now we're going to pry the plastic arch away, but you only want to get it to about here where the fender meets the fascia, because we do have another rivet up here, but we don't have another one to replace it. So we'll start pulling till the clips start releasing. And if you're having some trouble getting it started, you can take a plastic trim panel tool. That way it won't damage the paint. And we can start prying it away so we can get access behind it. So we'll grab an 8mm socket and pull it out. We're going to repeat that entire process on the other side. Before we pull our fascia off, we're going to have to get our tailgate up to about a 45-degree angle so we can access to the clips that are going to be in between the bumper and the tailgate itself. So to help me keep it in position, I'm going to use a strap. I'm just going to attach it at the top up here and then attach it to my tailgate, and pull the tension out so that it'll hold it right about that 45-degree angle. Just want to make sure it's secure so it's not going to fall whenever you go to remove the fascia. Now right above each one of our tailpipes, we're going to have this reflector. In order to get these out, they are going to be a little tight to try to get it from the back. So what you can do is you can take a plastic trim panel tool, and you're going to come on the inside edge first, and very gently just start prying away until it pops, and that clip will release. We'll pull that end out and slide it out the rest of the way. If you're having trouble, you can get behind the fascia and press on this center tab so it goes down so it'll slide out, but it is going to be extremely hard to reach up in there. Behind each reflector, we're going to have a bolt that we'll need to pull out. So we'll grab our 8mm socket and pull out the bolt on each side. We're going to grab an extra set of hands and we start removing our fascia. Right where our fender meets our fascia, we're going to want to pull it away so that the clips will release. You just want to watch that wheel arch so it doesn't cause any damage or scratch anything. Once we get to the taillight section, we're going to have to pop these tabs up. There's a plastic trim panel tool, and then I'll release the clips. We'll just start working our way towards the center. And once you get the center loose, you may have to kind of pry up on the bottom. But we're going to have some electrical that we're going to have to disconnect. Over on the passenger side, we'll have this plug. You can squeeze the tab so that we can disconnect it, and then we'll pull our fascia away. Once you have the electrical disconnected, we're going to set our fascia aside where it won't get damaged. With the fascia removed, it'll give us access to the bumper beam. On the top, we're going to have two covers that are covering up the nuts and bolts. And then on the bottom, on each side, we'll just have the two studs with the nuts exposed. We're going to be using an 18mm socket. It is a 12-point. That way I can get on these square covers and just loosen them up because they're going to thread on there and unthread so we can get access to the nut behind it. So we're going to want to remove all the covers on both sides. Using an 18mm socket, I'm going to remove the 4 nuts that are holding the bumper beam on each side. Just keep in mind you want to leave maybe 1 nut on there with a couple threads so that it doesn't fall off while we take the rest of them off. On the passenger side, we're going to have some wiring that's attached to the bumper beam. So you're going to take a trim panel tool or a flathead screwdriver, and we're going to pop that clip out. And if you need to, you can actually follow that wire down, and we can take it out of the clips. Just be some hooks holding it in place. We'll just take them out of there, and we'll come a little bit towards the driver's side. We'll have another plug. We'll press it on the tab, pull the connector out, and we'll just set that aside so that we can pull the bumper beam all the way off. Remove that last nut. You may need to lower your tailgate so you have room so that it doesn't cause any damage to the corners here. When we go ahead and set this aside, our bumper beam is not going to get reinstalled. So we can grab our hitch. We're going to line it up with the factory studs. Slide it on. Then we can get ready to put our hardware in place. The hardware we're going to be using, we're going to take a conical tooth washer. You'll notice it has teeth on it. You want to slide that over the stud so it's facing the hitch. Then we'll secure it with a new hex nut. We're going to get at least 1 in on each side. That way it'll hold the hitch up, we don't have to worry about it falling. And then we can get the rest of them in place. You're going to want to come back with a 3/4 inch socket and snug up all the hardware. And we'll come back and we're going to torque all of our hardware down to the specified amount in the instructions. You're going to want to make sure you repeat that for all your remaining hardware. And then for the wire, I just ran it up and behind the hitch. I'm just going to put it back into the little clips it was in, and then we'll plug it back in place. Now with an extra set of hands, we can put our fascia back in place. Just don't forget to plug your sensor back in on the passenger side, and it's probably a good idea to put your tailgate back up at that angle so we get everything to line up. Then we can start replacing all the hardware to put the fascia back in place. Now whenever we get ready to put everything back in place, all the fasteners are going like normal, except for the two that we drilled out. They're going to provide us with these new plastic clips. You'll have a Phillips head on the end. We're going to make sure it's unthreaded. We'll just slide it in to where the base hits the body. Then we'll just push that Phillips head in until it locks it in place. Now if we ever need to remove these, we can simply just unscrew that Phillips and pull it out like a regular push pin. That'll finish up your look at the CURT Class 3 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number 13077 on our 2015 BMW X5.